It killed 35 of his neighbors?
That's right. I'd give myself 50% odds for beating this thing in a fight.
I think you could beat it.
If you can't handle this, then maybe you're not ready for the field.
I'm not. I don't want to go look at dead goats.
Welcome to Mystery Files, where we take a deep dive into cases that span from the creepy to the truly bizarre and everything in between. I'm Ryan, and today I'll be forcing my colleague Shane to hear all about the legendary Chupacabra. In the end, you'll have to decide if this mystery is solved or if it's simply a mystery. Anything about the Chupacabra?
It means goat sucker, eats a bunch of animals. I think it's Mexican. I thought the way I said that sounded racist.
That's gonna be clipped. It's gonna be clipped. I think it's Mexican. All those goat suckers.
It's like a little furry, frail beast with teeth. I've heard varying reports of what it looks like, so I don't know that there's a consensus.
Well, I will say the consensus is this. In that kind of incoherent, rambling diatribe you just had there,
Look,
you said a bunch of it.
Hey, shut the fuck. Listen, we don't have to start this off on a
Who has the pointer? Who has the pointer?
We don't have to start off nasty here, okay? This is a new show. We're having fun.
Yeah.
We're teaching each other things. Let's enjoy it.
Good.
Okay.
So you said a lot of things that were inaccurate. In fact, the Chupacabra, not Mexican.
What is it?
You'll find out in a bit. In late February 1975, disturbing reports of animal mutilations began to pour out of the small town of Mocha in Puerto Rico.
Mocha.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
So not Mexico.
Right. I know those are different things.
You do?
Yes, I'm aware.
Farmers had discovered 15 cows, 3 goats, 2 geese, and 1 pig with puncture marks on their bodies. After performing autopsies, they discovered the animals had been drained of blood. The local authorities claimed dogs were responsible for the attacks, but no further measures were taken.
Okay, that's a lot of dry animals. I guess it makes sense. If you're gonna eat an animal, you might as well suck all that blood out, because blood is tasty. You ever have blood sausage?
Though? How?
I guess sort of like a sucking of some sort.
They have theorized that dogs have done this. When have you seen a dog go?
I've never seen that. Dogs notoriously don't use straws.
No, they use their tongue.
They go.
I know that because that's how I drink my beer sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen you do it. Yeah.
1 week later.
You don't have to do that for every word. I guess it's just dramatic. Is that what you're going
That's
for?
what I was, I mean,
yeah.
I just thought I was giving the presentation.
You sure were.
The attacks continued. Farmer Ray Jimenez was horrified to discover one of his cows with its skull pierced, scratches surrounding the wounds. Just over a week later, on March 15th, another farmer lost 34 chickens to whatever was stalking the town, bringing the total body count to 90 dead animals in 2 weeks.
Okay, that's a lot of dead animals.
Yes.
I'm trying to picture 90 dead animals piled up.
I don't think we could fit that many in this room.
That's a big pile of carcasses.
It's a lot of burgers.
Yeah. Well, if there's no blood, that's probably not a very good steak.
Is that what gives it the juice, the tastiness?
I don't know. I just eat them. I don't ask questions.
But it only took 3 days for that number to grow. On March 18th, farmer Hector Vega came across 2 of his goats drained of blood with puncture marks on their neck. The next morning, 7 more of his goats were injured, 10 were missing, and 10 more were dead. A local newspaper reported on the killings. In the article, they gave a name to the beast terrorizing the area. El Vampiro de Mocha. The Vampire of Mocha, if you didn't know, if you couldn't figure that out.
I got it, I put it together. I don't know a lick of Spanish, but I sort of got there.
An investigation by the Senate Agricultural Commission was launched. Herpetologist Dr. Juan Ribeiro was brought in to see if a Puerto Rican boa was responsible, but after examining the wounds, determined that the snake was non-poisonous, did not suck blood, and incapable of killing an animal as large as a goat, much less a cow. Nearby, odd bats were discovered in a limestone cave.
Odd bats?
Odd bats.
Odd bats?
And not the Batman.
Oh, what's odd about them?
Well, they're weird looking.
Okay. All right.
Stop asking so much questions.
Well, I didn't think it was a deep, probing question.
They didn't get along well at parties.
Okay.
They were odd, other bats said that I interviewed.
Okay.
They said,
All right.
okay, nearby odd bats were discovered in a limestone cave. But after further examination, it was determined they were fruit bats that did not attack animals.
So far, they're like, maybe it's a snake. Hey, you're an expert, check out this snake. And the guy was like, it's not this snake. Someone else said, what about these bats? They're odd. And someone said, they're not odd, they're fruit bats.
And they definitely can't kill animals, nor do they attack animals. Also, very noteworthy about the snake, did not suck the blood.
Well, yeah, snakes don't do that.
Yeah, neither do dogs.
Neither do dogs.
You picking up what I'm putting down?
It's gotta be a Chupacabra.
One could theorize, perhaps. As suddenly as the killings started, they stopped. By July 1975, the mutilations ceased with no explanation. Until March 1995, 2 decades later.
We could have used a trigger warning for the dead animal, mon frere. Yeah.
Hey, this might disturb you.
Okay, thanks.
Until March 1995, 2 decades later, when around 100 kilometers from Mocha in the towns of Orocovis and Morovis, farmers' animals were being mysteriously murdered. As you can see, that animal was murdered.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's hopping around living its best life.
No, and it didn't die of natural causes.
No, though it looks at peace.
Murdered.
Look at that happy face.
Veterinarian Carlos Soto examined 8 animals in this rash of killings. Despite being brought in more than 12 hours after death, none of the animals showed signs of rigor mortis. Each animal was instantly killed by 2 deep puncture wounds on the right side of the neck that went directly into their brains.
All the way up?
All the way up.
So I have to have real long teeth.
Of these 8 animals, correct.
Okay.
Each wound was about the diameter of a drinking straw, and so perfect that not even a skilled surgeon could have made them with a scalpel. Slaughtering up to 1,000 animals in the area, including dogs, rabbits, and chickens, the creature mutilating these animals had a favorite.
The fuck are you making me look at here?
Goats.
Yeah, I see.
Hey, look, if you can't handle this, then maybe you're not ready for the field.
I'm not ready for the field.
Don't make me ask for your notepad and your badge.
I'm not. I don't want to go look at dead goats.
While talking about the killings on his radio show, comedian Silverio Perez claims to have given this creature its name, El Chupacabra, which means the goat sucker in English. Even though it now had a name, nobody knew what this Chupacabra looked like until Canavanis residents Madeline Tolentino and her mother saw it on the sidewalk in front of their home. She said, quote, "It looked like a kangaroo without a tail, walking on its hind legs like a human. It had 2 thin arms with 3 fingers and 3 toes on its feet. Dark eyes that went up its temples and spread around the sides. No ears, 2 small holes for air instead of a nose, feather spikes down its back. She told her mom, quote, I saw the devil," end quote. Now, Shane, seeing this summary of its features, can you do me a favor and sketch that out?
I'm already doing it. Here you go.
Let's see it. I mean, yeah, I guess that does kind of match the description a little bit. It's just, it looks more like a Cartoon Network character kind of.
I drew exactly what you described.
Yeah. Okay, well, that wasn't as scary as I thought it would be, so let's just move on then. You're adding more to it.
Yeah, I just drew a little penis.
Sad I asked. After another encounter with the Chupacabra where her husband and co-worker tried to tackle it after they discovered it in their garage, Madeline drew a sketch of the creature. It quickly circulated, causing others to come forward with their own sightings.
Honestly, pretty similar to mine. Not even joking. That's pretty close.
I have to admit, it actually is pretty similar. Admittedly, far from the scariest thing I've ever seen.
If you saw that walking towards you in the middle of the night, you'd be laughing, right?
No, I wouldn't be laughing.
It's a funny little guy.
It's scary, but if it attacked me, I'd give myself 50% odds for beating this thing in a fight.
I think you could beat it.
You never know, it might have powers or something, like 11 from Stranger Things.
How tall is it?
4 to 5 feet tall.
That's funny. So it's like you.
It was right there, I mean, low-hanging fruit, I suppose. The floodgates opened as more and more sightings poured in. All of the descriptions seemingly of the same beast. While there was some variation, the general commonalities were that it was 3 to 5 feet tall, with incredibly strong, short hind legs, long claws, black or glowing red eyes, small bat-like wings, smelled of sulfur, and spikes running down its back with scaly skin.
Where'd the wings come from?
God?
No, I just mean they didn't seem to show up in descriptions up until now.
Well, this is like an aggregate of all the descriptions.
I see.
I will admit, if the folks who said they rustled it in the garage somehow forgot it had wings, that would be something I would easily remember. Like if I saw a winged creature, the first thing I would say is like, well, it had wings.
Yeah, I see a bird. I think that thing's got wings.
For sure.
I see a gopher.
Yeah.
I think no wings.
In March 1996, the popular Spanish language talk show Christina ran a story about the Chupacabra. The story exploded. Suddenly suspected Chupacabra popped up in Miami and Sweetwater, Florida. Then eventually, 1 month later, in Mexico.
Do you think the time difference is like Chupacabra Mama in the 70s, and then Son of Chupacabra's a 90s kid, shows up on the scene, starts it all up again?
I might consider the original rash of killings to be legitimate, and perhaps the later ones more of the copycat or imagination taking its fun.
Goofums afoot.
Goofums, perhaps.
Goofums afoot. I'm making a note.
According to the Skeptical Inquirer, Patricia and Mario Mendez Acosta staked out farmyards where the goatsucker had reportedly struck. Wild dogs were caught each time. A police official remarked, quote, "I don't know about the rest of Mexico or the rest of the world, but here, the goatsuckers are just dogs." For 5 years, reports of animal killings followed by Chupacabra sightings sprang up in Nicaragua, Spain, Argentina, Chile, and Brazil. The desperate search for answers caught a break when on August 30th, 2000, a farmer around Malapaisillo, Nicaragua, named Jose Luis Talavera, decided to stake out with a rifle to find the Chupacabra, which had killed 25 of his sheep and 35 of his neighbors.
It killed 35 of his neighbors?
That's right. No, 35 of his neighbors' sheep.
Oh.
He didn't kill his entire cul-de-sac of neighbors.
Okay, I see.
As he hoped, it returned that night. Bang! It went down. Jorge was now in possession of the first known Chupacabra corpse.
Well, great. Then they can study it, and is it in a museum somewhere?
Would you say
I'm excited to find out.
Would you say it belongs in a museum?
It belongs in a museum.
That was the worst Harrison Ford impression I've ever heard. I'll tell you a little bit more about it, but just sit there for a second. It is reported that a veterinary specialist examined the body and found that it was an uncommon creature with great eye cavities, smooth bat-like skin, big claws, large teeth, and a crest sticking out from its main vertebra. They believed it could have been a hybrid animal created through genetic engineering.
Nice.
One theory believed that it could have been a cross between a wolf and a crocodile.
Those two things don't go together.
No, they don't, because they ain't fucking.
No.
As far as I know.
They aren't.
I guess the crocodile could come on land, see a wolf,
we
be
can
like,
come
"Oh."
on land, all right.
The body was sent off to the National Autonomous University of Nicaragua. On September 5th, 2000, the results came back. The corpse was actually a dog with mange. Mange is a painful skin disease which causes animal hair to fall out and skin shrivel, giving it the gray, scaly skin many associate with the Chupacabra. When the body was returned to Talavera, he claimed that they had switched the body, stating, quote, "This isn't my goat sucker," end quote.
Not my goat sucker.
It would be 7 years until another body was discovered in June 2007. Naturopathic doctor and hunter Phyllis Canyon returned to her ranch in Cuero, Texas. In broad daylight, she saw a hairless canine figure with blue-gray flesh. It wasn't long until she and her husband found one of their chickens with its throat torn open and drained of blood.
Oh, brother.
Oh, brother is right. For several days, there were more attacks. Canyon set up cameras in an attempt to capture the culprit, but came up empty for several weeks, until Phyllis got a call from a neighboring rancher in mid-July, who said that one of these Chupacabras had been hit by a car near his property.
Nice.
As Canyon examined this body, she got a shocking call. Another Chupacabra body was found even closer to her ranch. Loading it into her tractor, Phyllis took it back to her ranch and took pictures. It went viral.
It just sort of looks like a sick dog. Yum.
That goat's blood was yummy.
Sort of already at odds with the descriptions though, right?
I don't know
I
about
recall
those.
something about no ears, right? What's that big old floppy thing?
No, you know what? You're making good observations. That's very well done.
Clearly, if I saw this thing, you know, I probably wouldn't immediately say that's a dog. I'd probably be like, well, that thing looks fucked up, you know? Kill it. Kill it, kill it, kill it. And then take some pictures of it. And then I'd probably be like, oh, it was a sick dog.
Perhaps. You know, the
Should have
thing
taken
is,
it to the vet, gotten it some help.
instead of pulling out my Magnum.
Yeah.
To prove that it was not simply a mangy dog, she sent off DNA samples to multiple labs. When the results came back, she said, quote, I have now done DNA at 5 different universities. All of them came back identical. They do not match any animal in the archive. To this day, she keeps the carcass and skull in her freezer, while she proudly displays a taxidermy mount of her proof of a real Chupacabra.
Well, good for her for having this in what appears to be her dining room.
What do you think
She's
about the
being
DNA tests, though? None of them coming back matching any kind of animal in the archive.
I'd like to see the reports.
You'd like to see the DNA yourself?
Yeah, show me that DNA, baby.
Yeah.
She seems excited to have this.
So does the dog.
Dog's really psyched to be there.
You know, if aliens ever came down to Earth and one of them were to unfortunately bag themselves a burgoose, very sad.
Stuff your ass.
I would love to be a taxidermied Ryan in some alien living room. Is that weird?
What would your pose be? They'd be like, this is what a human is.
Yeah, or what if they were like,
Big fan of ghost fires. We'll get the big one later. He was faster.
Yeah, well, you just admitted it.
that's what
you know
they-
deep
that's-
down I'm faster than
no,
you.
you're not faster than
I am,
me, man.
yeah.
You know what? We could go and do a foot race.
Yeah, we could.
If these episodes hit 3 million views each, we will do a foot race on patreon.com.
Do a foot race.
/watcher. We don't normally plug Patreon in the main show, but they, you know, there's mystery files. We'll do whatever.
Mystery files.
We'll do whatever. We'll do
folks.
whatever we
Mystery
want.
files.
Hey,
Do
no
whatever we
rules
want.
here, baby.
No
we're in the
rules, that's right.
we're in the
That's
fucking
it.
basement. So, Shane and audience, what happened to these animals? Bring in the cork board. It's time for the theories.
Let's cork it up.
Now watch this move that I practiced.
Very nice. Yo, you did it the wrong way.
Fuck!
Wrong way again.
Hold on,
You got
okay,
it.
this is good.
How long did you practice this for?
Shut up.
Okay.
Fuck!
Oh, did you do it?
Are you fucking kidding me? While the labs all had similar results, they were not exactly how Phyllis portrayed them. Bringing us to our first theory. The Chupacabra is simply a dog with mange. Now this is something that you were already getting towards, I believe, in your little notepad there.
Well, I like a nice grounded theory here. That's actually quite nice. I like to see that.
Thank you. That's why it's our first one. When Canyon first sent off samples from the body, the lab at Texas State University determined that the Chupacabra was a coyote with mange. Mike Forstner from their biology department said, quote, the DNA sequence is a virtually identical match to DNA from the coyote, end quote. To get a second opinion, Phyllis had testing done by UC Davis. While there was coyote DNA, it was mixed with Mexican wolf DNA. This has led Canyon to claim that her Chupacabra is a one-of-a-kind, unique animal, as she said earlier. No results from the lab. Well, remember she was saying I sent it to 5 different labs and it came back and there was nothing it matched in their archives because it was a mix.
Well, if you're a coyote, you see a wolf, sexy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a different kind of fur.
Yeah, and just a very, very comely animal. If you're a coyote, because you're like, that looks like me, but bigger, stronger, more majestic. I'd like to get in that, you know?
Well, here's a ladder of appropriateness. There's rungs on it, and I think you went about 5 rungs too high.
I'm putting myself in the mind of a horny coyote.
Well, I'm sure you are. You sure it's not just your mind?
Uh-oh.
Someone's ladder training certified. Barry O'Connor from the University of Michigan explains, animals with mange are often quite debilitated, and if they're having a hard time catching their normal prey, they might choose livestock because it's easier. But if all chupacabras are simply canines, what would account for all of the sightings of a kangaroo-like creature standing on its back feet? As you can see here,
A boat?
that's a fucking kangaroo.
Oh, I was distracted by the beautiful boats.
No, ignore the boat for now.
Okay. Kangaroos are actually, the tail does a lot to keep them balanced. So
In some creatures,
in
yes.
almost all creatures.
Dogs?
You ever seen a dog without a tail? It cannot stand on 4 legs. That's not true.
Didn't think so. I thought there was a joke coming, and then I realized.
No, I just didn't know where I was going with that.
Yeah. Like I'm saying though, we had a lot of the reports of the hind legs early on in the sightings in Puerto Rico, not so much in the latter years, which is why I start to wonder, perhaps there's something to those early sightings that's different from the later sightings, which are, you know, more in the dog range.
It was a dog. It looked like a dog.
Hey, if it looks like a dog and it sounds like a dog.
If it looks like a dog and looks like a dog and is a dog.
It's probably a dog.
Most likely a dog.
Yeah. Theory 2.
Monkeys! Monkeys!
The Chupacabra is actually escaped
monkeys. Get out of here! Whoa! I didn't know we were gonna be talking monkeys.
I know you love monkeys. You're a monkey guy.
I love monkeys.
Off the coast of San Juan, Puerto Rico hosts the oldest wild primate research center in the world, funded by National Institute of Health and the University of Puerto Rico. Located on the island of Cayo Santiago, it was founded in the 1930s in order to bring monkeys from all around the world to one place to be studied.
That's a recipe for disaster.
But it makes sense.
You could put a bunch of monkeys on an island?
Yeah, because then you could look at them.
No
and
way,
be like,
dude.
look at what the monkey do.
No, monkeys are gonna get up to no good.
Anyways, throughout the years, many of these monkeys have escaped the isolation of the island by boats. As you can see right here.
Monkeys drove a boat? What are you talking
No,
about?
they didn't drive the boat. I'll get into it. As the initial Chupacabra attacks began, Puerto Rican zoologist Edwin Velasquez thought that they could be caused by the escaped monkeys, which are commonly seen in the non-urban areas. He said, quote, "Not everyone can describe a creature they see at night, and their imagination fills in the blanks by association with other things. A person seeing one of these apes in twilight would believe they had seen a little man, thus confusing the real for the fantastic," end quote. We actually did a little nighttime test before we started this episode. Let's cut to that now. Okay, Shane the Brain. Here. Okay. Do 10 jumping jacks for me right now. Okay, wow, you really just keep your keys like that, huh? You're gonna sit back down, Oh, fuck.
Why did I do that?
On the count of 3, open your eyes and tell me what you see. Ready? 1, 2, 3. What is this? What is this?
A chupacabra.
What is it? Tell me what it is. What is it? Gun to your head, what is that? Identify it correctly, what is it?
Sort of like a dog or a mangy wolf.
Fuck!
What was the point of that exactly?
Well, I wanted to simulate your heart being elevated because you think you're seeing something crazy. It's dark.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to immediately say what came to mind when you see what was in front of you, which was just a dog with mange. And I wanted to see.
I think the first thing I said, though, in my defense, was a chupacabra.
But did you actually think that, or were you just?
No, I actually thought that.
I feel like you're still mocking me.
I'm not mocking you.
Let's move to the next theory.
Okay.
Now, as I mentioned before, perhaps the impossible is possible. We move to our final theory. The Chupacabra is an undiscovered creature.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I doubt it. Excited to hear you make a case.
I'm gonna make, just you wait. Director of the International Cryptozoology Museum, Lauren Coleman, feels that the general acceptance of the dog with mange and media composite theories are a detriment to work that could lead to a real undiscovered creature. He said, quote, "It's certainly a good explanation, but it doesn't mean it explains the whole legend. In 1995, chupacabras were understood to be a bipedal creature that was 3 feet tall and covered in short gray hair with spikes out of its back," end quote.
Inconsistent.
Inconsistent. Because of mistranslations in the late 90s, when the description traveled internationally, it morphed from its original version into much more of a dog-like figure in the early 2000s. Getting even weirder, some suspect the creature was the result of US government experiments. Before you roll your eyes.
Before I roll my eyes.
Before you roll your eyes.
You don't know I'm gonna roll my eyes.
Keep them fucking still in that skull of yours. The US has a long history of using Puerto Rico as a testing ground. The contraceptive pill in the 50s, napalm in the 60s, and Agent Orange before Nam. Even stranger, UFO researchers claim there to be a secret US facility in Chile where suspected chupacabra attacks also occurred. In one account, according to Benjamin Radford, quote, "Chilean soldiers had captured a chupacabra male, female, and cub that had been living in a mine north of Calama. Then, according to the account, a team of NASA scientists arrived in a black helicopter and reclaimed the chupacabra family. The creatures, so the story claimed, had escaped from a secret NASA facility in the Atacama Desert of northern Chile, where the US Space Agency was attempting to create some kind of hybrid beings that could survive on Mars. Not exactly a smoking gun. But also, going back to dogs, do they suck blood? A quick Google search says no. So how about that?
You had to Google that.
Well, I mean, I couldn't. I wanted to make certain that they don't suck blood.
I don't know that I buy those pencil pushers over at NASA being involved with any of this. They're a bunch of dorks.
Well, I mean, yeah.
They're math dudes. You think they're doing Dr. Moreau stuff over there?
Maybe because it's fun, because it's secret. Well, I've given you all the variables here, so now it's time for you to do some math and solve the equation for yourself. Is this mystery solved, or is it just a mystery?
I'm gonna go with solved. You know, it's probably monkeys, dogs. None of the reports sound consistent.
Yeah.
There's no hard evidence of anything. I think it's just a bunch of hooey.
Well, you could tell that to the farmers in Puerto Rico.
Hey, farmers of Puerto
I broke
Rico.
my yarn, hang on. Oh. You could tell that to the farmers of Puerto Rico.
Farmers of Puerto Rico. I think you're full of shit. Is that suitable?
So you're going with theory 1 then, solved.
None of it's super compelling to me, unfortunately. I mean, you know, isn't it fun to tell stories? That's what humans do. We're storytelling creatures.
That's what we do down here in the basement.
In the basement, that's what we do.
Well, let's see if you're right.
Oh, you got one here?
To his credit, Loren Coleman acknowledges it's highly possible that the Chupacabra could just be a dog with mange. But with the many conflicting reports, what's to say it isn't an animal we haven't discovered yet? There is an infinite number of things we have yet to understand, and I believe this is certainly one of them. Let this one be a mystery.
Probably dog, right?
Well, we can't say for sure.
Okay, I'll go dog.
I mean, you can't say that with certainty.
I'll say personally with certainty, I go dog.
But yeah, it's not really like.
Let this one be a dog.
It's not. No, don't do that.
That's
graphic.
okay. You can do that.
This is
You can
not.
do
Hey,
it. Get it
hey,
nice and-
you do your stupid things on your
It's dog.
episode.
It's dog.
This is my episode, and this one's a mystery. There's no way you could say with certainty that this little guy
dog.
right here
It's
is
a
a
dog.
Chupacabra.
That's a Chupacabra.
When it was down here, we didn't have any pictures. When it was up here, we had pictures, and those might be dog.
might be
This
dog.
one, not dog.
Not dog.
Therefore, mystery.
Okay, we can let that be a mystery. The mystery of the dog.
It's actually the power of the dog.
A good sequel though, huh?
That's true.